Every year, the Oscars, or the Academy Awards, give us 10 films competing for Best Picture. Some obvious contenders, some surprise nominees, and usually at least one film that makes you ask, how did that get there? Today, I'm breaking down every nominee in exactly 1 minute each, so this won't be some exhaustive extended review of every film. No mucking about, I'm doing these in alphabetical order, and at the end, I'll let you know where I think things will go on the weekend. Okay, so let's do this. Bugonia, a surreal dark comedy from Yorgos Lanthimos where conspiracy theorists become convinced that a powerful businesswoman might actually be an alien threat to humanity. Bugonia really drew me in. It's impeccably performed, shot and drawn together to bring you into Teddy's world, played so brilliantly by Jesse Plemons. He's the standout here for me. You believe in his character and the film really plays with you as he goes from seeming like a conspiracy theorist nutter to a weirdly compelling person. Emma Stone is also great and continues to impress with her range. It's a good watch filled with relatable modern ideas on being too over-isolated in an age of misinformation and the hell of huge corporations. Like any Yorgos Lanthimos film, it's not for everyone, but his style of quirky, original filmmaking at such a high level is a healthily odd tonic in a world of movies where risk can seem rare. Will it win? I don't think so. Seeing it nominated here is a little surprising, but welcome. F1, a high-octane racing drama starring Brad Pitt as a veteran driver returning to Formula One to mentor a younger teammate while battling the politics and danger of the sport. Among the other films nominated here, F1 seems like a really weird outlier. Joseph Kosinski is a great blockbuster director with an eye for detail and grandeur. Heck, I loved Tron Legacy and Oblivion. Yet, when I saw F1, I was underwhelmed. I did see it a while ago now, but I can't really recall too much of what I experienced. It felt forgettable. It was a visual feast, but story-wise it felt like something I'd seen so many times before, and the fact it was based in the seemingly real world of F1, yet broke some of the laws of what could actually be done in the format, kind of left me cold. It's obviously done supremely well at the box office, and there were some holy crap hang on to your seat real F1 moments that looked superb. But if the Oscars is about crowning films of originality and importance, I don't see that being F1. Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro reimagines Mary Shelley's classic with gothic grandeur, exploring the tragic relationship between creator and creature in a haunting monster tale. I only recently saw Frankenstein. It's fresh in my memory, and what I can remember is being so drawn in by Oscar Isaac's electric performance as Victor Frankenstein. Yes, it's a story that's been told many times in many ways, but to see this story realised with huge sets and clearly meticulous design and passion behind it, as well as presenting a different and super compelling version of the monster, it's a long film which sure might have been able to trim a minute or two, but you can tell Guillermo del Toro poured everything he has into this. It pays off. I really enjoyed Frankenstein. Just thanks to its attention to detail, the world created is just so great to be in. Its sound design was also impeccable, and it would be great to see it pick up the award for Best Sound, if anything. My only wish is that I'd gotten to see this in the cinema. Hamnet, a deeply emotional historic drama about William Shakespeare's family, focusing on the death of his son Hamnet and how that loss influenced the creation of Hamlet. I am really divided on Hamnet. It has a ton to offer, both in terms of performance, cinematography, that gorgeous Max Richter soundtrack, and the obvious emotional blow it deals with. However, I feel like the promotion and synopsis for this should not have given the emotional gut punch of the film away. That being said, it didn't hit me as hard as I expected it to, namely because I don't know why. Is it something wrong with me? But I just didn't connect with Paul Mescal's performance. Plus, it's Jessie Buckley's film, really. She's the beating heart of this. Her character is wild, and Jessie clearly shows a wealth of range. But from the weird fixation on the void in the middle of the woods, that by the third long drawn-out shot on it, I'm like, yes, we get it. To the decision to shoehorn the very well-used track on the nature of daylight towards the end, instead of drawing on the incredible work from the score, I think Hamnet is this year's slightly overhyped film. Even though it is still really good, Jessie Buckley is likely to get Best Actress. but I don't think it'll get Best Film. Marty Supreme, a kinetic sports drama about an ambitious table tennis prodigy chasing greatness while navigating fame, ego, and the absurd intensity of professional competition. Another potential forerunner that's had a mixed bag of reviews, and I can see why. I really liked it. My wife wasn't so keen. Marty Supreme is a kinetic film that deals with the hubris of a narcissistic young man chasing fame and glory in the 1950s. It is weirdly relatable despite its period setting, and I know that many people have a love-hate relationship with Timothée Chalamet, but this is a role he was born for. The key thing for me is that many, if not all, the set pieces here are memorable and really well constructed, both in pace and dialogue. The entire bowling alley set piece, the way the shady hotel scene completely pivots the story, you can't really predict where this will take you, but you do know that somehow Marty is going to make a complete mess of it. I'm sure many will have thought that it got sidetracked, but I think this is why I like it, as it's going where this crazy character's life takes you, to unexpected places. The soundtrack is a choice, but of really great 80s needle drops that, yes, don't fit the period, but I feel were bang on. I've seen Marty Supreme twice now, and I loved it both times. One battle after another. Paul Thomas Anderson's darkly comedic political drama follows a revolutionary figure navigating power, ideology, and chaos in a story about modern resistance. Next to the brilliant British film I Swear, One Battle After Another was at the very top of my favourites from last year. Seeing this in a cinema was pure joy. The visual quality and feel from this being shot on 35mm VistaVision was a real treat. Many shots just had me exclaiming at how good it looked. This is proper camera work, and betting on film really paid off. But then the film itself just had something different to offer, which Paul Thomas Anderson regularly excels at. I'm a huge fan of his work. This was him delivering a great mix of his weirdness and well fleshed out characters, running with a satirical take on the political divide and underground revolution in America. Leonardo DiCaprio really gets his teeth stuck in here. I laughed often at moments of his performance as Bob, especially when he teams up with Benicio del Toro's sensei Sergio. Their scenes together are the highlights of this film. The car pursuit towards the end really got me. Again, it just visually arrested me on the big screen. Predictably, I think One Battle is likely to take the win on Sunday. The Secret Agent. Set in 1970s Brazil during the dictatorship, this tense political thriller follows a man on the run while trying to reconnect with his family amid state surveillance. I just watched this last night as I sought to round out all the films on this list, and to me, despite its ambition, it falls well short of being a true contender for Best Picture. It's great to see another Brazilian film being nominated both in Best Picture and International Picture, with the incredible I'm Still Here winning last year's International Best Picture. But both of these films rely on one thing to really get stuck into them, and that's the history of Brazil's turbulent past. I'm Still Here does a great job of communicating this, but I don't think The Secret Agent does a good enough job to explain itself. Maybe it doesn't need to, but it's a disjointed patchwork of film that does contain some nice performances and good moral stories, especially by some of its supporting cast and from Wagner Moura. But it's long and drawn out in places, with some bizarre choices that can't decide whether it's been satirical or serious. It also has an odd subplot involving Jaws that felt a bit disconnecting, even though I spotted where these nods were. I can see there's something for some audiences here, but I unfortunately didn't connect with it. Sentimental Value, a layered family drama examining grief, inheritance, and emotional baggage as estranged relatives reunite and confront long buried wounds. Sentimental Value is another foreign language film that's made its way into the overall Best Picture nominations, and I can honestly see why. I think the spellbinding performances from Renata Reinsve and Stellan Skarsgård really grabbed me here, as well as its initial opening that stayed with me throughout the film. film. It's a deep dive into a fractured relationship between a filmmaking father and his daughters, so it's not the type of film for everyone, but if you're into something that feels real in terms of dealing with unresolved issues and seeing searingly realistic performances, like honestly, out of all these films, Renate Reinsve could win Best Actress with a look. She says so much without speaking. I was constantly hooked on who she was and how she was dealing with her situation. Elle Fanning is also really good here as an ultra-famous actress who has been moulded to play a role written to Renate Reinsve's character. The cinematography here is excellent too, and there are some standout moments where I was like, whoa, that's a great shot. I also loved the house, the kind of house that I'd love to stay in. It's very much a slow burner and not for everyone, but honestly, I think this could be the surprise pick for the Academy. If not, it's sure to win Best International Picture. Sinners, a genre-blending historical vampire epic that mixes horror with social commentary following a community confronting supernatural terror and human corruption. A genre bender and to many a strong contender to win, but I've got to be honest, not for me. The second this film started, I really did fall for it. The super impressive cinematography, the world you're drawn into that has music at its core, painting the picture of a young man trying to find his place. I found the early parts of the film fulfilled the promise sold to me by people who recommended it. Then comes the twist, and though the performances are stellar, especially from Jack O'Connell and Michael B. Jordan, I found that this became a logistical juggle to see who gets killed, when, and how. And it went in a direction that didn't resonate with its initial promise. It also felt like a film I'd already seen, likely because of From Dusk Till Dawn. Thing is, Marty Supreme and One Battle After Another have similar trajectories in going to unpredictable places, and I was more on board with those. With me and the supernatural or horror, a film has to work really hard to sell it, and this one just didn't strike a chord with me, despite being fun and having great performances in it. But hey, like I said, it's got a lot of support and could well take the win. Train Dreams, a poetic American frontier story about a quiet labourer whose life unfolds across decades of change, capturing loneliness, nature, and the passing of time. Encapsulating loneliness as both a traumatic and beautiful experience in a film is a tough gauntlet to throw down for yourself as a filmmaker, but the outdoorsman in me completely fell for this gorgeous film that is probably the best I've seen Joel Edgerton in. It's the kind of film that if you let into your heart will stay with you and maybe teach you to enjoy the little things, the beauty, the sheer miracle of the natural world. It's got a Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life vibe to it, and with superb close-ups in it on everyday events that look gorgeous. Like some of the other films nominated, it's a slower of pace, not bombastic or exciting film, but it shows someone who lives a tragic, grueling but simple life in a tactile, fresh air rich world of trees, earth, and where human connection is so cherished. It'll make you want to log off and get out into the natural world and take an enormous gulp of air. I was quietly devastated at the end. It wrapped an entire lifetime into less than 2 hours and featured some exceptional supporting performances, including the brilliant William H. Macy. It's just such a shame it got a limited cinema run being a Netflix film. I wish I'd got to see it on a big screen. A truly sincere piece of work that deserves a nomination, and if it got the win, I'd be happy to see it. So, those are the 10 films competing for Best Picture at this year's Academy Awards. Some feel like obvious contenders, some feel lucky just to be nominated, and this year is especially tough as I don't think there's much in it. I really enjoyed most of these equally, but if I had to make a prediction, I think the Academy will likely go for One Battle After Another. It's easy to see why. It's already been showered with awards, including Best Film at the BAFTAs, and as you now know, it was genuinely one of the highlights of last year for me, especially in the cinema. It's one of those films that you do get the most out of on a big screen, and if there's one thing we should be advocating for in movies is encouraging the big screen experience. Beyond that prediction, yeah, Sinners has a lot of press around it and could totally take the prize, but then again, I'd love to see a film like Train Dreams that deserves a wider audience to take it. But of course, the Oscars always loves a surprise, so we'll find out on Sunday. Let me know in the comments which film you think should win Best Picture and why. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this particular kind of video, please like the video. It really helps the channel out, and hit subscribe to stay in the loop for more movie reviews. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.